COVID pandemic has turned our world upside down. To those who have lost loved ones, my heart is with you. To those parents who are worried about their kids going back to school, to our elders, to frontline workers, to those who have lost a job or been laid off, or who are struggling to keep your small business afloat, the Green Party stands with you. Right now, we have big decisions in front of us. The question before us is, do we reach backwards for yesterday's solutions? Or do we use this moment to build back smarter by embracing the global green economy, by showing respect for working people, and by creating the jobs that will get Ontario back to work? The Green Party has established 10 principles to build a greener and more caring Ontario. And today I want to focus on 5 priorities of those principles that we are pushing the government to embrace in the fall sitting of the legislature and in the upcoming provincial budget. 1, uphold the new respect we have for frontline workers. This pandemic has shown us how essential workers like cashiers and nurses, PSWs, transit drivers, and many, many more are to this province. It's time that we show real respect to working people. These hard-working people are heroes, and now it's time to treat them like heroes. These service professions, many of them led by women and people of color, should be permanently protected with fair wages and paid sick leave. We are calling for this government to show respect for workers by permanently ending the practice of requiring sick notes, by providing protected sick leave so workers don't have to worry about losing their job, and by finding the best path to increasing the minimum wage to $15 while also supporting our small businesses along the way. 2, re-energize climate action with jobs. Economic recovery will require historic investments that will shape our economy and our communities for generations. We must embrace the sustainable path, joining the multi-trillion-dollar green economy that is reshaping the world of work around us. Ontario cannot afford to be left behind. Ontario can quickly restart a green recovery with a building retrofit program that retrofits homes, apartments, public buildings, and businesses all across this province. Pre-COVID, 460,000 Canadians worked in green buildings. We can more than double that number over the next decade with a deep retrofit program. A program that tackles homes as well as hospitals and schools, community centers, and other public infrastructure that will create tens of thousands of jobs, save millions in heating and cooling costs, freeing up money that could be better spent on programs like healthcare and education, and that will reduce our greenhouse gas emission. This is a win for people, planet, and jobs. 3, buy Ontario by protecting local food and water. This pandemic has taught us that Ontario has to become more self-sufficient. But we can't do that if we pave over our prime farmland. Pre-pandemic, over 850,000 Ontarians worked in the food and agricultural sector. We must hold on to our new appreciation for buying local by permanently protecting prime farmland and source water regions, And we need a government procurement policy that's going to support our farmers by buying healthy local food for our elders in long-term care, for our children in schools and child care centers, for people in hospital. The bottom line is buying local is about protecting the places we love and the people we love. 4, reimagine our cities and towns by making them affordable for everyone. Housing is a human right. The time in quarantine has taught us how essential a safe place to call home is and how essential a livable community is. But more and more Ontarians cannot afford to buy a home, no matter how hard they work. Rents remain sky high. We need a housing-first strategy to ensure that everyone has an affordable place to call home. The good news is that we can increase affordable housing supply while protecting prime farmland and natural heritage. We can do this by leveraging provincially owned land and working with nonprofit and co-op housing providers to build affordable and deeply affordable housing. We can establish a mandate for affordability in all new housing developments, and with zoning innovations that allow people to build alternatives like laneway housing and tiny homes while supporting the development of mid-rise developments. And 5, support our local independent businesses and nonprofits. People want to buy local. That is very clear. But small businesses and nonprofits, so vital to the vibrancy of our towns and communities, are struggling to stay afloat. We cannot allow our downtowns and main streets to become ghost towns. And let's be very clear. There will be no economic recovery if we do not keep our independent businesses and nonprofits alive. We must fix the rent relief program to make it tenant-driven when it comes to applying and extend the commercial eviction ban at least to the end of the year. We can provide tax credits for small businesses to purchase PPE and retrofit their stores and buildings to make them to meet public health guidelines, to make them safe for staff and for people. Provide investment support for Black, Indigenous, and racialized business owners, and invest in people-centered downtowns. The last 6 months have been hard. Ontario's been through a lot, but we are resilient. We will bounce back. The only question is how we will do it, and the choice is ours. We can go backwards, looking for old solutions, or we can move forward with the principles for a greener and more caring Ontario. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.